Oh my god, that's better. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gresvan, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. Casting with the dry throat is not an easy thing to do. Yeah, banger of a ZvZ, an unfortunate ZvZ. This keeps happening. It happened in KSL and it happened in ESL Open Cup Asia more often than not. And what I'm referring to is that all the Zerg players are looking to knock each other out. And I say all the Zerg players, really I mean the only two. For those wondering, Dark and Scarlett, if you have a look at the bracket, you'll be interested to find out that Dark and Scarlett are really the only two notable Zergs in the tournament. There's also Hyperion, to be fair. You know, I don't want to throw shade. But Hyperion is considered to be a bit of a level below. And Scarlett and Dark, unfortunately, they are going to be knocking each other out here. Only one will advance forward, and there is going to be only one Zerg player in the quarterfinals. Or is it the quarterfinals? Well, in the semifinals, as we have nothing but Terrans and Protoss everywhere else. There can be only one, and this happens quite a lot in these tournaments, mainly because there's not that many active Zerg players. But even in KSL, I don't know if you remember this, a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, when we were casting KSL, it was Ragnarok, Scarlett, Dongregu, Solar, and Dark were all in the same half of the bracket, and it was just ZvZ until the finals. Oh, it was crazy. The other half of the bracket was pure Terran and Protoss as well. So yeah, I don't know what's been going on recently. It's just how the tournaments have been being seeded recently as well, in these Korean Cups. You know, I just like to see them fanned out a little bit, you know, just so we can have a little bit more diversity and some other fun matchups going on. Regardless, we are, oh right, Miyamaka as well. Miyamaka was also a part of that half of the bracket for KSL. Just all the Zergs, mate, all the Zergs. But for now, we do have standard openers. Hatch Gas Pool from Dark. Same for Scarlett. Dark is not going to be skipping out in his Baneling Nest. Neither is Scarlett. Her Baneling Nest is hidden in the main base, and that may make Dark a little bit greedy as a response. He may be baited into a certain style of play here, as he hasn't been able to quite scout that yet. So here we go. As I say that, the Lings of... Oh, okay. Never mind. Dark just scouts the natural base, and here we go. We do see a triggered response. A mass amount of Lings are on the way for Dark. Because there's no Baneling Nest, he wants to try and punish that and apply pressure here at the third and force a kill, force maybe even more than that, as the Lings are going to be flooding across the map. But Scarlett does have an offensive Baneling Nest. She does have Banelings on the way back at home, so yeah, we'll see how good her control is against this. As the Lings are rocking on up, already doing a lot of damage here to this hatchery. The Banelings are rolling on forward. Dark does pull back, does trade very nicely against that first Baneling. Meanwhile, the Banes of Dark also push on forward. They're coming in from both angles. Ooh, and Scarlett, she's gonna be able to hold on. One Baneling connects, but we need two Banelings to kill workers, and Scarlett is going to hold. Overall, Dark trading a little bit better, but Scarlett is getting away with droning a little bit more, and that matters more, as she's going to be continuing to saturate this third base. We have a lair on the way, a Roach Warren as well. So far, Scarlett's not looking too bad at all. Dark trying to catch up in the drones, trying to, you know, recover. Meanwhile, once again, Dark just trying to find some damage. He pokes in with his Banelings. Likewise, here he's going to try and pick off a Baneling as well. Is unable to. And things are going to be transitioning into the Roach phase of the game. As we get into this phase, I do want to say that Scarlett is looking, again, slightly better just because she's been mining with more drones for longer. She still has a worker lead, by the way. Oh! Ooh, not the best trade here for Scarlett, and we have an opening. The Lings are getting on in. Oh, and every single Baneling goes down. Whew. Despite that, we do see that Dark isn't able to find an opening. He doesn't get any workers. Scarlett does have roaches out in time. She will still defend. Oh, I spoke too soon. Even I missed it. 2 Banelings rolled into the third base. 9 drones go down, and now Dark has a massive worker lead. Scarlett was doing so great up until that point, but she's still going to be in an okay position, even though she's behind economically. We have a Spire on the way. We have some hidden tech, and this is a great way to get map control. This is a great way to get some breathing room as well, and to force your opponent to back off as you expand, take a 4th base, and recover from some of these economic losses. Of course, there is going to be a window here where Scarlett is vulnerable, and I worry. 6 Overlords are in production right now. It's possible that Dark is done droning. He's saturated on 3 bases. He has a 4th, don't get us wrong, but I imagine he's going to be making nothing but roaches from this point forward, and he's going to be looking to hit a timing with +2. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. +2 and roach speed are on the way. Dark is saturated in all the right places. And what this means is that when Scarlett does reveal her mutas, Dark did just confirm it, by the way. He does see the Spire. Hydroden gets thrown down immediately, but there's a window here where the mutas are going to move out, but there's going to be such a large ground army. Dark is pulling back with all of his overlords. He is making sure he minimizes his losses. And there we go. Spores are being thrown down all over the place. Scarlett about to poke in, but yeah, she's just got to be really careful here with her roaches. Doesn't want to lose too many of them. Doesn't want to trigger that counterattack. And yeah, these mutas, they have given Scarlett map control, but they haven't really dealt too much damage so far. Ugh. Not even getting an Overlord. Dark doing a great job at just holding on with the Hydra Den. Now we have a Lurker Den on the way. He's transitioning into Hydra Lurker, soon to be Viper. Now 1 Overlord goes down, and Scarlett's going to be able to pick off some of these roaches at least. Behind this, she needs to get her own bases up and running. She's actually committing. We have more mutas on the way. Interesting choice. Interesting. A lot of players only get enough mutas for map control and then go back into Roach Ravager. I wouldn't be opposed to Scarlett investing in all these mutas, but also taking up to Lurkers behind it. We'll see if that's where she goes. For the time being, just mass muta. And Dark is forced to play a more defensive, macro-oriented style, turtling up on these 4 bases. He does have his 4th, though, getting all of his gases. I love this. He has a decent amount of roaches, and he wants to make use of them. So we have Burrow and Tunneling Claws on the way. This is a great way to get across the map undetected and actually, you know, harass and put Scarlett on the back foot. Oh. Speaking of, Scarlett is also looking for her own openings. Ooh, we have a couple of Dropper Lords being set up as well. I think they were just cancelled. No, wait, no. There they are, the Dropper Lords. You'd love to see it. Overlord speed is on the way. The mutas are looking to get into the main base, but they don't find an opening quite yet. Just clearing out some Overlords. And with this drop setup, Scarlett can get into the main and catch Dark completely off guard. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. I love the Dropper Lord idea. Until that happens, Scarlett, again, just poking around, looking for some damage. Making sure Dark is kept busy. Ooh. 1 Spore goes down, the Lings flood in to do a little bit more damage. Meanwhile, the Dropper Lords are headed towards the main. They are empty, though. Ooh, as Dark is pushing out across the map. Has Scarlett seen the Burrow? Does she know? Does she see? I think so. Yeah, she does see. She's trying to keep up with these roaches, but the roaches are being set up in between every single one of her bases. Oh, and damage is going to be dealt. We have roaches at her 4th, at her 5th, at her 3rd. God, that's so many mutas. But drones are going down. We do have the drop lords headed into the main base. We have Mass Ling going into the main. We have Banelings set up to head towards the third base. There are lurkers waiting for those, so these Banelings aren't really going to do too much. Ooh, as we have that drop in the main, we do have a reaction. The Banelings, oh, they kind of get in. Ooh. But they don't have the melee upgrades they need to really kill many workers at all. Lings get into the main base, but they also get cleaned up. I love the multi-pronged aggression, but alas, Scarlett wasn't able to capitalize on it. I personally, I would have loved it if we had like maybe the mutas trying to push into one base, and then the drop, and then the Baneling run by as well, all three at once. But Scarlett was busy with all the harassing roaches. And now Dark has the better army. Even though Scarlett's looking to find some damage here, Dark has Vipers. And a couple of parasitic bombs is all Dark needs. And here we go. The Vipers are going to be chasing this. If at any moment Scarlett dives in with her mutas, it's going to be so important that she's able to somehow pinpoint the weakened the muta with the power bomb and pull it out. Otherwise, she's going to lose everything. Oh boy. Like, parasitic bombs hard shut down mutas. It's not even close. Oh god, especially because mutas are glass cannons. They are very fragile units. Once again, Bailey run by rolling on in. Gets 8 drones, not bad whatsoever. Roach drop into the main base as well, but we have Lunkers in position at the same time. Another Ling run by being set up here towards the north. Drones are going down. Oh, meanwhile, the Vipers are close by. 2 power bombs do connect. Scarlett is quick to split. Thankfully, we're not in the middle of a big fight, so we shouldn't be losing too many mutas. Ooh. But I don't know if we want to go in once again. The Vipers are not ready. The mutas are going to be able to take control of this location and take out the 5th. Ooh. Now Scarlett has to back off, regroup, rebuild. In the midst of all this chaos, Dark lost 24 drones. This time, a very nice outcome here from Scarlett, and she's transitioning out of mutas. This is the most important part. She's not rebuilding the mutas that she's losing. She is going into ultras and lurkers. She's getting Vipers of her own, which is going to be very important to break the defensive siege here of Dark. The era of the muta has come and gone. I think at this point, maybe the best use of these mutas, other than buying time, and we don't want to throw them away too quickly, is probably to try and catch these Vipers. If the Vipers get caught out, then Scarlett can snowball and kind of take a massive lead, if of course she has spellcasters and Dark doesn't. We'll see though, we'll see. As the mutas are actually going all the way into the main base here, they're going to be able to pick off maybe a lurker, maybe 2. But here come the Vipers. Up! Oh, once again, the parasitic bombs. Oh, there is no splits. Oh my god. These mutas are all going to be cleaned up. At the same time, though, Scarlett is remaxing. Again, we're done with mutas. We're going pure Ling, Bane, Ultra. We're rolling on in. We have a couple of blinding clouds here for the lurkers, but these ultras are still going to have a rough time breaking on through. The lurkers are doing so much damage. The ultras do take control of the mineral line. But we have no detection. Oof. That was an expensive trade. Again, ultras are really tanky and they can get on top of lurkers, but these entrenched positions are so difficult to break. Dark just turtling up so heavily. Ugh. He's got 17 lunkers, Poppy. 17. So, personally, the ultra transition is okay. I'll be honest. What trumps lurkers? The answer is broodlords. There we go. I assumed that because we opened up with mutas, I assumed that we would have a natural transition into corruptor broodlord, and broodlords are kind of the ultimate late game composition in a way. Unfortunately, as we see a couple of workers going down here, we went into ultras instead, which would have been a great way to kind of like rush a base and get a quick lead. Alas, wasn't able to happen here. This is a very expensive kind of mineral and gas sink, and Scarlett is going to need more time to get into her own Broodlord transition. Meanwhile, the mains are rolling on forward. Ugh. But Dark is quick to pull away. Despite that, the base is going to be going down. Nice blinding clouds as well. The ultras are getting on top of some of these lurkers, but really they were just here to tank and to allow for this base to go down. As long as Scarlett's economy is bigger, is better, she can afford to tech switch. Did end up losing a hatchery here towards the south, though. Yeah, Scarlett, the Great Aspire, just now finishes up. Before that happens, though, Scarlett makes a wave of Hydras. It looks like she wants to go into Hydra Lurker Viper as well, first. The way into Broodlords is there if she wants it. But it looks like that's not really what she wants to work with at the moment. It's also very possible, I'll be honest, that she's not fond of the dynamic between Broodlord Viper and Lurker Viper. Alright. Well, with that, Lunkers are on the way, more Vipers as well. Scarlett has had a better economy throughout the majority of this game now, just because these run-bys have been doing so much for her. Dark has had a really hard time pushing forward. I guess the next big thing is, like, when is Dark gonna feel like he can move out? What's the goal here? He's been able to absorb some pushes. I imagine he wants to wait for his 3-3 upgrades, which are just about to finish up. 3-3 on the horizon. And now that he has this 3-3, I imagine he's going to be waiting for Scarlett to push in once again like she has been, lose a bunch of supply, Dark can take a defensive fight, and then he's going to unburrow and move out across the map. So now I think he's kind of gotten to that point. I'm hoping that that's what he's waiting for, because the other option, which is maybe looking to be the case, is Dark wants to slow push across the map with his creep and his spores. Just like a slow siege across the map to get to the bases of Scarlett, which would be pretty disgusting. but possible. We'll see. Ooh. So the ultras try to go in, 2 ultras get picked off immediately. It's okay, we're rebuilding the Lunkers. And now we're going to be getting into a pretty interesting dynamic where we see Lurker Viper against Lurker Viper. It's going to be all about the abducts and the blinding clouds and the positioning. As Scarlett is looking for a way in. Hop! Gets one yoink. Oh, speaking of yoinks, oh my god, all the detection of Scarlett does get abducted. Same with the Vipers as well. We have some counter power bombs. Oh, but Scarlett loses a lot of her spellcasters and... oh my god, I guess I can say the same for Dark though. The power bombs, not too bad. Scarlett without her Vipers though has to back off. She has to respect this position. And she's still also behind in upgrades, so I'll still wait for that to kick in as well. Dark has been able to slowly take a 5th base. 6th base even. And we're in that lovely sweet spot of late game ZvZ. Lurker versus Lurker. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh. I'm joking, by the way. This is the thing that I detest most in ZvZ. The dynamic of Lurker versus Lurker. Really, it's the dynamic between the Vipers, to be honest. Like, the Vipers are what they're what give each other openings because of their spells, because of the abducts specifically. And blinding clouds. It's all about the Vipers. It's all about who's able to outposition who and out-control who. Oh. As Dark is being contained here to his 6 bases. You have a Nidus slipping into the main base. This could be huge. There's not much here and Dark has not reacted. Oh. Dark, though, does snipe both Vipers of Scarlett. Without a Viper, she cannot break in, but maybe she doesn't need to because the Nidus has finished and the Ultras are going in. Vipers are here to respond, but the Ultras, they're going to be able to get on top of some of this tech. Can they take down? They will be able to take down the Hydrogen at least. Ooh, oh my god. At the same time, the Vipers wander forward for Dark. 3 Vipers go down. Oof. And Scarlett trying to make some magic happen here. Well, getting into a pretty good location. I believe lurkers with upgrades. Yep, they can reach the mineral line. Oof. Losing a decent amount of Hydras there. Scarlett bleeding out a lot, to be honest. Oof. She's making 12 Vipers. Jesus Christ. And here we go. We do see Dark finding the room to have a little bit of freedom to move out with his lurkers. This is going to force a massive reaction out of Scarlett. She does pull back to regroup. Oh, 13 drones going down. Meanwhile, the meters of Scarlett are finally being thrown away. Ugh. And, yeah, Scarlett's having a hard time here. She'll eventually clean this up, but she did lose a lot of workers. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe at this stage of the game, Scarlett shouldn't have such high of a drone count. God, but she has so many Vipers. Ugh. I feel Scarlett. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating dealing with all these lurkers and getting the detection you need. Oh my god. Finally, they get cleaned up. Dark pushing forward here, trying to get a 7th base. That was the goal of all that harassment, to give him the room, give him the time. And now this is it. Scarlett with all of her Vipers should be able to take control of this area, but we'll see what the control comes down to. Now, I imagine... I don't like that she has them all in one control group. I imagine that the goal here behind having so many of these Vipers is that if she does lose a couple of Vipers to the Abducts, she will have like another group of Vipers ready to go back in. But she's moving in with everything, so she's going to be susceptible to some parasitic bombs. Here we go. We do have both players yoinking each other. Oof. Scarlett coming out on top in that fight. She didn't take a single power bomb to the face. She killed a lot of the Vipers of Dark. But now Dark is just going for a massive link counterattack, and Scarlett doesn't have much to defend her fringe bases. Oh. Scarlett so hyper-focused with the main fights. Oh. Is going to be losing a lot here. Oh, but you know what? She gets a couple of yoinks. She has an opening because she has so many Vipers. And you know what? She lost Queens, she lost Static Defense, but she didn't lose too many drones. Let's go. Very nicely done. Oof. Here we go as the Vipers once again engage with each other. Power bombs thrown down all over the place. Nice splits though from all of our players. Oh, another power bomb towards the end though. Scarlett is able to deal with all the aggression, with all the harassment, and now can focus on her main push again. Oh. And Scarlett has such a massive bank, but it's a mineral bank mainly. That's the problem. And she can't go for her own run buys because Dark is just so fortified. One thing is for certain though, Scarlett cannot allow this base to get up and running. She has to keep trading here over time. She has to deal with this. Only 3 Vipers in the area for Dark. Does have the rest a little bit further back. This is dangerous. Dark is getting in position. Scarlett hasn't seen this until now. Oh boy. And Dark with this base, he can do what we were talking about. He has been slow pushing with spores and lurkers this entire time, and he's finally made it to one of the bases of Scarlett. Here we go. We have those Adrust coming in. We have power bombs as well to counter. Ooh. Power bombs doing a lot of damage. At the same time, it looks like we're trying to get a Nidus into the main. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. Nidus into the main base. Scarlett trying to find that opening. Ooh. But Dark, quick to respond, isn't letting that happen. Nice trades overall from Scarlett, but Dark, oh my god, he's bypassing the entire army. He's trying to get on top of the high ground. Oh, and he will. Scarlett's being zoned. She's being cut off from the rest of her bases. Oh, but the Nidus, the lurkers do come back. Scarlett set up a surround. Oh my god, but can you surround these lunkers? That's the question. Oh. This may just be the move to end it all. Scarlett split up between her forces. She lost a lot of her Vipers as well. And Dark, slow and steady, wins the race. He pushes on forward. He has broken the natural. Scarlett trying to come in from behind, but Dark is everywhere he needs to be just with pure Lurker Viper. GG gets called, and Dark will take game 1. Oh, Jesus. And what a game 1. Oh my god. What a game 1 indeed. And yeah, now we're going to be continuing here in the series. Oh god. Hopefully our players have the stamina to keep on going. That was a long one. That was a brutal one. Again, Dark just being the defender, slowly spreading his creep, slowly expanding, taking more bases until he's close enough to have an opening to just, yeah, go for one swift kill move. Aye. And now we're getting into game 2. That's the thing about Dark. He is willing to just slow things down, grind the game down to a halt, mate. There we go. Now we are getting into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left hand corner of game 2 of this series, and in the bottom left hand corner of Royal Blood we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood we have his opponent, the Canadian Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. Oh. Aye. I'm just catching up in the chat. It's absurd how quickly power bombs kill mutas. I mean, they are the hard counter, like, to be honest. Vipers do kind of hard counter mutas, and they kind of force a transition out of like the muta dynamic in ZvZ, as we saw. I do think that the transition from Scarlett wasn't ideal. I do think that she wasted a lot of resources going into Ultras. Clearly, it wasn't the correct call. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure Scarlett just didn't want the game to go on longer. I don't think Scarlett wanted Lurker versus Lurker, so she was doing everything she could after getting map control with her mutas to go into Ultras and try and break a position and snowball. Like, I'm 99% sure that, maybe 90% sure that that's what Scarlett wanted out of that transition and out of that game. Unfortunately, we saw that Dark's defensive position was just too good, and the Ultras just weren't worth it in the end. And Scarlett had to kind of tech switch again from there to get into her own Lurkers, her own Vipers. and that's a lot of gas. Like that's like, even though Scarlett had a better economy and had more mining, that was a really big investment that never paid off. And it's things like that that just kind of gave Dark momentum himself in that game, because he was trading so efficiently overall. Oh boy. So yeah, again, it's one of those things where Dark kind of knows what his win condition is. He's willing to play out some of these more, you know, what other people would say like tedious games. But you know, he does it for the win. He does it. Oh. And here we go, we do have hatch gas pools all around. Dark is actually making a decent wave of lings, and he's banking up the lings back at home. He is cutting drones at 21, even though we had a really long late game scenario in game number 1. Here in game 2, Dark is going for a massive ling flood. And Scarlett, for the time being, is none the wiser. You know, she's getting her 3rd base, she's got her Baliness up and running as well. She needs to scout. Unfortunately, she hasn't gone for a ling scout. Usually you peel off 2 lings like what Dark is doing. Dark is ling scouting right now. He's trying to get a feel for the droning of his opponent. Scarlett hasn't. And here we go. Dark is pulling the trigger. He's sending his lings across the map. Scarlett needs to morph in Banelings as soon as possible. She has been droning. And here we go. She's trying to set up a wall, but oh my god, she's being denied. Oh my god, Dark with some very quick moves there denies that wall. The Banelings are still not being morphed in, and the lings have broken in. Oh my god, the lings, they actually avoid the queens. They go all the way into the main base. Instead, the queens are getting caught off of creep in between the bases. And despite the Baneling nest being done, there are no Banelings. GG gets called, and just like that, Dark takes the series 2-0. Oh, very cute micro from Dark, making sure that Scarlett couldn't wall off her natural. That was the move that honestly just straight up won Dark the game there. Oh, Jesus. The dichotomy of Dark, you know, game 1, very slow, very macro oriented. Game 2, mate, he just goes for the throat, smells blood in the water. We'll take a swift win there. Oh, GG, well played. And with that, Dark is going to be advancing on to the semifinals. Into the semis, and we'll see who he does, or yeah, who he does face in those semis, if he does have an opponent waiting for him, especially because game 1 was so long. Let's have a look. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the brackets. It looks like Creator versus Cure is still ongoing, and we should be looking around here to see if there is a series. All right, let's have a look together.